Charlie Munger was more than an investor. He was a philosopher in a business suit, a man who could see patterns where others saw noise. While the world rushed to make quick money, Munger quietly studied how the mind works. He believed that true success begins not with luck or talent, but with rational thinking. To him, wealth was a result of clear judgment and lifelong learning. Munger grew up in a modest home and built his fortune through wisdom, not chance. He often said that avoiding foolish behavior is more important than being brilliant. That one line carries the essence of his entire philosophy. He understood that our worst enemy is not the market, not the economy, but our own emotions. And that is why his teachings go far beyond money. They teach us how to think better, live wiser, and stay calm in chaos. The beauty of Munger's wisdom lies in its simplicity. He never spoke to impress. He spoke to awaken thought. His ideas sound ordinary at first, yet they carry extraordinary power when practiced every day. He taught that success is not built in bursts of effort, but in quiet discipline over years. That wisdom compounds just like money does. In a world filled with noise, shortcuts, and greed, Munger's voice stands as a calm truth. He showed that you do not need to be fast to win. You only need to be right and consistent. He proved that thinking clearly is a superpower anyone can develop. You just have to train your mind to see reality as it is. This book is a journey through his timeless lessons. Each chapter brings you closer to understanding how Munger viewed life and investing. You will see how he made decisions, why he avoided mistakes, and what made him so admired by Warren Buffett and countless others. The goal is simple: to help you think a little more like Charlie Munger, and in doing so, to see the world more clearly than ever before. Now, as we step into the first chapter, we begin with the most essential part of his philosophy, the foundation of everything he taught and practiced. It all starts with clear thinking. Chapter 1. The Power of Clear Thinking. Charlie Munger believed that clear thinking was the foundation of all success. He often said that the human brain is a wonderful machine, but it comes with many flaws. Most people do not fail because they are stupid. They fail because they do not think clearly. They react without reflection. They chase what feels right instead of what is right. For Munger, mastering your mind is more valuable than mastering the market. Clear thinking begins with awareness. You must see how your emotions and biases cloud your judgment. When greed rises, logic fades. When fear takes over, opportunity disappears. Munger's secret was not avoiding emotion, but learning to step back from it. He watched his own mind, just as a scientist observes an experiment. He paused before making decisions. He asked questions like, "What do I really know?" and "What could I be wrong about?" This habit protected him from the madness that controls most investors. Munger loved simplicity. He said, "Take a simple idea and take it seriously." That is the heart of clear thinking. Most people complicate life and business with too many moving parts. They use fancy words, complex plans, and endless calculations. Munger preferred to strip things down to their core truth. If an idea could not be explained in plain English, it probably was not worth trusting. He believed that reality is not always comfortable, but it is always right. Clear thinking means accepting what is true, even when it hurts your ego. If a decision turns out wrong, face it. Do not hide from mistakes. Learn from them. As Munger said, if you're not willing to look foolish once in a while, you'll never make progress. Honesty with yourself is the highest form of intelligence. One of Munger's most powerful habits was using multiple viewpoints. He did not see the world through a single lens. He used knowledge from science, history, psychology, and philosophy to make better judgments. He called this the latticework of mental models. By connecting ideas from many fields, he could see the whole picture. That clarity gave him an advantage over others who thought in narrow boxes. He also warned against the trap of quick conclusions. He said that most people are addicted to being right instead of being accurate. They defend their first opinion, even when the facts change. But Munger believed that changing your mind when you are wrong is a sign of strength, not weakness. He admired thinkers who could say, I was wrong, and now I know better. That is how wisdom grows. Clear thinking is not about speed. It is about depth. Munger once compared fast decisions to fast food. Easy to consume, but unhealthy in the long run. Good thinking takes time. It means slowing down, collecting evidence, and seeing beyond surface appearances. The goal is not to look smart, but to find truth. In investing, Munger used this principle by asking one simple question: is it worth it? He looked for businesses that made sense, had honest leaders, and could survive for decades. He avoided complex trades or trends he could not understand. His clarity kept him out of trouble and helped him build wealth steadily over time. In life, the same rule applies. Think slowly, question deeply, see clearly. When you learn to calm your emotions and remove confusion, your mind becomes a powerful compass. That compass will guide you not only in investing, but in every important choice you make. As Munger often said, the best thing a human being can do is to help another human being know more. And that begins with clarity. Now that you understand the power of clear thinking, we move to the next great principle that shaped Munger's mind, the latticework of mental models. It is the secret map he used to navigate the world wisely and make decisions that stood the test of time. Chapter 2: The Latticework of Mental Models. Charlie Munger often said that to be a truly wise thinker, you must collect mental models from many disciplines. A mental model is simply a way of understanding how the world works. Each field, physics, biology, psychology, economics, history, gives you one more lens through which to see reality. The more lenses you have, the clearer your vision becomes. If you look at every problem through only one view, you will miss most of what matters. Munger compared mental models to tools in a toolbox. If you only have a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. But if you have many tools, a wrench, a screwdriver, a saw, you can solve different problems in smarter ways. In the same way, the mind must collect ideas from everywhere. No single subject has all the answers. Wisdom grows when you combine them. He once said that the great error of the modern world is man with a hammer syndrome. It means using one kind of thinking for every situation. For example, an economist may try to explain everything in numbers. A psychologist may explain everything in feelings. A business person may think everything is about profit. But Munger warned that life is bigger than one rule or one formula. Reality does not fit into a single frame. To build his own latticework, Munger studied widely. He read about mathematics to understand logic. He learned psychology to understand human behavior. He used history to see patterns that repeat over time. He studied biology to understand systems and survival. Each idea strengthened the others. That is how he built a strong mental network, one that guided him in every decision. Munger believed that cross-disciplinary learning sharpens judgment. It helps you connect dots that others cannot see. When investors panicked, he could stay calm because he saw patterns through the lens of psychology. When others chased trends, he remembered the lessons of history. When others argued emotionally, he used logic and patience. That balance came from his wide learning. He once said, "If you only know one thing, you will soon know less than that." He meant that the world keeps changing. To keep up, your mind must keep growing. Mental models are not fixed beliefs. They are flexible tools that evolve with experience. The more you learn, the better your judgment becomes. But Munger also warned against collecting models without understanding them deeply. He disliked shallow knowledge. He said, "It's not supposed to be easy. Anyone who finds it easy is stupid." That was his way of reminding us that wisdom demands effort. You must think about what you read. You must connect it to real life. You must test it through experience. A strong latticework gives you the power to make decisions in uncertainty. It helps you see when people are being irrational, when businesses are overvalued, or when opportunities are genuine. It helps you separate signal from noise. When you have many models in your mind, confusion turns into clarity. That clarity was Munger's greatest strength. He and Warren Buffett both used this approach to find great investments. They did not rely only on financial numbers. They looked at human behavior, competition, incentives, and long-term effects. This broad understanding gave them an edge that others could not copy. Munger's message was clear. Do not limit yourself to one subject or one skill. Read widely, think deeply, and build your own latticework of ideas. It is the only way to see reality as it truly is. In the next chapter, we explore one of Munger's favorite habits, the never-ending hunger for knowledge. He believed that wisdom compounds like interest. The more you learn, the more you can learn. Let us step into that world and understand how Munger became a true learning machine. Chapter 3. Learn constantly. Charlie Munger often said that the biggest difference between successful people and average ones is their hunger to keep learning. He called himself a learning machine. That simple phrase described his entire approach to life. He believed that the world rewards those who keep improving their understanding every single day. To Munger, learning was not something you do for a few years in school. It was a lifelong habit. He liked to remind people that knowledge compounds just like money. If you learn a little every day and apply it wisely, the benefits grow beyond imagination. He said that one of the greatest secrets to success is going to bed a little wiser than you woke up. Over years and decades, that small daily progress creates massive results. But Munger's way of learning was not random. He was deeply curious about many subjects, but he searched for timeless principles that explained how things truly work. He read about physics to understand cause and effect. He studied psychology to see how people think. He explored history to learn from past mistakes. He believed that all fields of knowledge connect if you look deeply enough. This wide, cross-disciplinary learning gave him an edge that few could match. He also valued the power of quiet study. While many chase excitement or gossip, Munger preferred to read and think. He said, "In my whole life, I have known no wise person who didn't read all the time." Reading kept his mind sharp and disciplined. He did not read for entertainment alone. He read to gain insight, to test his assumptions, and to expand his worldview. Munger believed that learning is not about collecting facts. It is about changing behavior. He said, learning without behavior change is not real learning. If you read a great idea but never use it, it remains useless knowledge. Wisdom comes from applying what you learn in real life, making decisions, taking risks, and reflecting on results. Mistakes were not failures to him. They were teachers in disguise. He also believed in the power of humility. The more you learn, the more you realize how little you actually know. This humility keeps your mind open. It protects you from arrogance, the silent enemy of progress. Munger often laughed at those who acted like experts but never admitted doubt. He said that intelligent people change their minds when new facts appear. That flexibility is a sign of wisdom, not weakness. For Munger, curiosity was the fire that never went out. Even in his 90s, he kept asking questions, exploring new subjects, and learning from anyone he met. He admired people who remained students forever. He believed that curiosity keeps the mind young, hopeful, and alive. He warned that the opposite of learning is mental laziness. When people stop learning, they start repeating old patterns. They stop growing and soon fall behind. In a fast-changing world, ignorance is expensive. Continuous learning is your only defense. Munger's example teaches us that knowledge is a living force. It grows only when you nurture it. Every book you read, every conversation you have, every mistake you reflect on, all become fuel for future wisdom. When you commit to lifelong learning, you stop fearing the future because you can adapt to it. In the next chapter, we dive into one of Munger's most powerful thinking tools, a habit that helped him avoid mistakes and see the truth from unexpected angles. It is the art of thinking backward, the timeless strategy he called inversion. Chapter 4. Invert always. Charlie Munger often said, "All I want to know is where I will die, so I'll never go there." At first, this line sounds humorous, but behind it lies one of his deepest lessons, the power of inversion. Inversion means thinking backward. It is the habit of asking not just, "What should I do to succeed?" but also, "What should I avoid to fail?" By looking at problems from the opposite side, Munger found clarity that most people missed. He learned this approach from mathematics, where complex problems are often solved by turning them upside down. If a problem seems hard, reverse it and look at what causes the opposite result. For example, instead of asking, "How can I be happy?" Munger might ask, "What makes people miserable?" Avoiding those things, envy, laziness, dishonesty, and greed, naturally leads to a happier life. He believed that eliminating mistakes often leads to success faster than chasing perfection. Munger often said that most people spend their lives trying to be smart, while he tried to avoid being stupid. He joked that he did not want to be brilliant, only consistently not dumb. That simple mindset saved him from many disasters. He knew that avoiding stupidity, such as overconfidence, debt, or poor judgment, produces steady and lasting results. In investing, this meant steering clear of businesses he did not understand. In life, it meant avoiding people and habits that led to regret. He saw inversion as a way to simplify complex choices. When faced with a decision, he asked, "What could go wrong here?" This helped him spot risks early and act with caution. He called this preparing for failure in advance. Most people plan only for success, but Munger planned for survival. That mindset helped him and Warren Buffett stay calm during market crashes when others panicked. Inversion also reveals truth about human behavior. If you want to be wise, study how people become foolish. If you want to build wealth, study how others lose it. If you want a strong business, study how companies collapse. By understanding failure deeply, you become better at creating success. Munger believed that inversion protects the mind from bias. Our natural tendency is to look for confirming evidence, things that agree with our opinion. Inversion forces you to see the other side. It helps you find blind spots, question assumptions, and build stronger arguments. He said, "You must always ask, and then ask again, what if the opposite were true?" That habit of double-checking gave him an edge in both thinking and investing. He also used inversion to guide his personal life. He avoided unnecessary drama, foolish spending, and dishonest people. He avoided noise and focused on what mattered. He knew that peace and progress often come from subtraction, not addition. Removing what is harmful is sometimes more powerful than adding what is helpful. Inversion is not a pessimistic way of thinking. It is realistic and practical. By expecting problems before they appear, you strengthen your foundation. You build systems that last. You make choices that survive uncertainty. That is how Munger protected his wealth and his peace of mind for decades. He often told young people that they could greatly improve their lives simply by doing the opposite of what foolish people do. Avoid arrogance. Avoid envy. Avoid debt. Avoid fast talkers promising easy riches. Just by avoiding stupidity, you rise above most of the crowd. Inversion teaches us that wisdom is not always about finding something new. Sometimes it is about removing what blocks your view. When you think backward, you begin to see forward more clearly. As we move to the next chapter, we explore another of Munger's great strengths, his deep patience. In a world that rushes, he waited. While others acted fast, he paused and thought long. The next lesson is about the discipline of patience, the silent power that multiplied his success. Chapter 5. The Discipline of Patience. Patience is one of Charlie Munger's greatest superpowers. In a world where everyone wants quick rewards and instant success, Munger stands apart. He often says that the big money is not in the buying or the selling, but in the waiting. This idea may sound simple, but it is deeply powerful. Most people lose in the stock market because they cannot wait. They want excitement. They want action. But Munger reminds us that success comes to those who can sit still when others are restless. Patience is not just about time. It is about mindset. It means trusting your process even when nothing seems to be happening. It means believing in your decisions and waiting for the results to show up. The market rewards those who can resist the temptation to act on every emotion or headline. Munger and Buffett often joke that their real edge is temperament. They do not let the noise of the market push them around. Munger's patience comes from understanding value. When you know what something is truly worth, you do not worry about short-term price changes. If you buy a great company at a fair price, your job is to hold it and let time do its magic. Compounding works best when you give it time. Every interruption, every emotional reaction slows the process. Munger once said that investing should be like watching paint dry or grass grow. If you want excitement, take your money to a casino. Patience is also about opportunity. Munger believes that you do not have to swing at every pitch. You can wait for the right one. Most investors feel pressure to always be doing something. They jump from one stock to another, chasing trends or tips. Munger calls this behavior foolish. Instead, he waits for a few great opportunities each year, or even each decade. When those come, he acts with confidence. Until then, he waits calmly. In life too, patience brings strength. Whether you are building a business, learning a skill, or growing your wealth, everything valuable takes time. The world rewards those who stay the course. Munger's wisdom reminds us that slow progress is still progress. You do not need to move fast. You only need to move in the right direction and keep going. Patience also protects you from mistakes. When you are calm, you think clearly. When you rush, you often regret it. Munger's philosophy teaches that waiting is not weakness. It is discipline. It is what separates professionals from amateurs. The ability to do nothing when everyone else is panicking is a great advantage. If you wish to think like Munger, practice patience in small ways every day. Learn to delay gratification. Read deeply instead of scrolling endlessly. Invest for decades, not for days. Train your mind to find comfort in waiting. Because patience is not just a strategy for investing. It is a way of life. It keeps you focused, balanced, and wise. And as we move to the next chapter, we will see how another key principle, simplicity, ties beautifully with patience. For Munger, keeping things simple is not just smart thinking. It is the secret to staying patient and successful for a lifetime. Chapter 6. The Value of Simplicity. Charlie Munger often says that simplicity is the mark of true wisdom. The world loves to make things complicated. People use fancy words, complex models, and endless formulas to sound smart. But Munger believes that real intelligence lies in understanding things so clearly that you can explain them in plain language. If you cannot explain an idea simply, you probably do not understand it well enough. In investing, simplicity protects you. Many investors get lost in complicated strategies. They chase hot stocks, study short-term charts, and follow endless predictions. But Munger and Buffett keep their approach beautifully simple. They buy good businesses they understand, run by honest people, and hold them for a long time. That is it. No fancy tricks, no complicated formulas, just clear thinking and discipline. Simplicity is not the same as ignorance. It does not mean avoiding hard work. It means cutting through the noise and focusing on what truly matters. Munger's mind works like a filter. He ignores things that do not add value. He looks for the few big ideas that make a real difference. This mental clarity allows him to see patterns others miss. Simplicity is also a form of humility. It reminds us that we do not have to know everything. The world is too complex to understand fully. Munger teaches that the key is to know your limits and stay within them. This is why he focuses on his circle of competence. If something is too hard to understand, he simply says, "I don't know." This honesty keeps him out of trouble. Most people lose money because they pretend to understand things they do not. In life, simplicity brings peace. The more complicated your decisions, the more confused you become. Munger avoids clutter, both mental and financial. He believes that success often comes from saying no to most things. When you focus only on the essential, you make fewer mistakes and achieve more. Complexity can make you feel busy, but it rarely makes you effective. Munger's idea of simplicity also connects with his love for long-term thinking. Simple plans last. Complicated ones break easily. If your strategy is too complex, it is likely to fail when life throws surprises at you. But a simple plan, built on strong principles, can survive almost anything. To think like Munger, you must train your mind to simplify. Ask yourself what truly matters. Remove the unnecessary. Whether it is an investment, a business idea, or a personal goal, clarity gives you strength. Simplicity turns confusion into confidence. It helps you make better decisions and sleep better at night. Munger's world is not about speed or noise. It is about focus and understanding. He does not chase every opportunity. He chooses a few that make sense and sticks with them. He reminds us that genius often hides behind simplicity. As we move forward, we will explore another of Munger's great insights. After simplicity comes the power of avoiding stupidity. Because Munger often says that it is far easier to stay out of trouble than to get out of it. And that lesson may be the most practical wisdom of all. Chapter 7. Avoiding Stupidity. Charlie Munger often says that it is easier to avoid stupidity than to seek brilliance. Most people try to look smart. They chase clever ideas, complex theories, and risky opportunities. But Munger takes the opposite path. He focuses on staying rational and avoiding big mistakes. To him, success in investing and in life comes not from doing extraordinary things, but from not doing foolish ones. Munger learned long ago that human beings are full of biases and blind spots. We tend to overestimate our abilities, follow the crowd, and let emotions guide our choices. These habits lead to bad decisions. So instead of trying to be a genius every day, Munger builds habits that protect him from himself. He designs his thinking to reduce errors. This approach is simple but powerful. Avoiding stupidity begins with humility. It means accepting that you do not know everything. Munger often says, "It is not supposed to be easy. Anyone who thinks it is easy is stupid." He respects difficulty. When something is too hard to understand, he moves on. He avoids areas where he lacks knowledge. This self-awareness is what keeps him safe. Most people fail because they try to play games they do not understand. Munger's strategy also includes what he calls inversion. Instead of asking, "How can I succeed?" he asks, "What would cause me to fail?" Then he avoids those actions. For example, if you want to stay healthy, avoid smoking, junk food, and laziness. If you want to stay rich, avoid debt, greed, and emotional investing. By identifying what can go wrong, you increase your chances of doing what is right. This idea may sound negative, but it is deeply practical. The world is uncertain. Even the smartest plans can fail. So Munger builds his life to survive mistakes. He avoids the edge. He stays conservative when others are aggressive. This mindset allows him to remain calm when markets fall or the world panics. He knows that survival is the first rule of compounding. Avoiding stupidity also means avoiding unnecessary complexity. Many investors lose money because they use too much leverage, trade too often, or follow trends they do not understand. Munger keeps things simple and clear. He prefers missing an opportunity to taking a foolish risk. His goal is not to be flashy. It is to stay alive, stay rational, and stay in the game. In life, the same principle applies. Munger avoids toxic people, dishonest partners, and get-rich-quick schemes. He stays close to honest, intelligent, and hard-working individuals. He knows that good character is the best defense against stupidity. When you surround yourself with the right people, you make better choices without even trying. To think like Munger, remember this rule. You do not need to be brilliant. You only need to be slightly wiser than the crowd and avoid the big mistakes that others make. Over a lifetime, this difference compounds into greatness. As we move to the next chapter, we will explore how Munger studied the human mind to understand why people make foolish decisions. His deep dive into the psychology of human misjudgment reveals how our own minds can become our worst enemies if we are not careful. Chapter 8. The Psychology of Human Misjudgment. Charlie Munger believes that understanding human psychology is one of the most important skills in life and investing. He says that if you do not understand how the human mind works, you will be fooled again and again. The biggest mistakes people make do not come from a lack of information, but from a lack of understanding of their own behavior. Munger studied psychology deeply, not to manipulate others, but to protect himself from the traps of the mind. Human beings are not perfectly rational. We think we make logical choices, but our decisions are often shaped by emotions, habits, and biases. Munger identified many psychological tendencies that lead people astray. One of the most dangerous is confirmation bias. This happens when we only look for information that supports what we already believe. Instead of searching for the truth, we search for comfort. Investors fall into this trap when they ignore bad news about their favorite company. Munger avoids this by forcing himself to consider opposing views. Another common bias is social proof. We tend to copy others, especially when we are unsure. If everyone is buying a certain stock, we feel safer buying it too. But this herd behavior often leads to bubbles and crashes. Munger reminds us that following the crowd feels good, but rarely ends well. Independent thinking is the antidote. Munger also warns about incentive bias. People often do what they are rewarded to do, not what is right. If a financial advisor earns more by selling a certain product, he may recommend it even if it is bad for the client. Munger says that you must always understand the incentives behind human behavior. Once you know what motivates people, their actions become easy to predict. There is also the consistency bias. Once we take a public position, we want to appear consistent, even if new facts prove us wrong. Our ego makes it hard to admit mistakes. Munger trains himself to stay flexible. He says, if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. It takes courage to change your mind, but that courage saves you from disaster. Another powerful tendency is the liking and disliking bias. We tend to trust people we like and doubt those we dislike, regardless of the facts. Munger teaches that liking someone does not make them right. You must separate emotion from judgment. A smart investor looks at the data, not the personality. All these psychological traps create one big enemy: ourselves. Munger says that the battle for rationality is an inner battle. You cannot control the world, but you can control how you think. By understanding your own mind, you make better decisions and avoid the foolish mistakes that ruin others. Munger's brilliance lies in his ability to combine logic with psychology. He does not see human weakness as shameful. He sees it as something to understand and manage. Awareness is the first step to wisdom. Once you know your biases, you can design systems and habits that protect you from them. As we move to the next chapter, we will see how Munger applied this understanding of psychology in one of his greatest strengths: building strong partnerships. Because behind every great success story lies trust, honesty, and shared thinking. Chapter 9: The Power of Partnership. Charlie Munger often says that one of the smartest decisions of his life was partnering with Warren Buffett. Their friendship and business partnership have lasted for decades and created enormous success. But their bond was not built on luck. It was built on shared values, mutual respect, and a deep understanding of how to work with the right people. Munger teaches that the people you choose to associate with can shape your entire life. Partnership, to Munger, is not about finding someone just to agree with you. It is about finding someone who makes you think better. He and Buffett often debate ideas. They challenge each other, but always with honesty and respect. Munger says that a good partner does not flatter you. A good partner tells you the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. This kind of relationship keeps both people sharp and rational. The foundation of any great partnership is character. Munger believes you cannot do good business with bad people. It does not matter how smart or talented they are. Dishonesty always destroys value in the long run. He says that integrity, intelligence, and energy are essential traits. But if you lack integrity, the other two will hurt you. This principle guided him not only in investing, but also in life. Another reason Munger values partnership is because it helps you overcome your own blind spots. No one sees the world perfectly. When you have a wise and honest partner, they can point out what you might be missing. Munger and Buffett often describe themselves as having one brain in two bodies. They think independently, but reach similar conclusions because their principles align. This mental harmony is rare, but it creates lasting success. Munger also reminds us that partnership extends beyond business. It includes marriage, friendship, and community. The people around you influence your habits, thoughts, and emotional balance. If you surround yourself with positive, thoughtful, and disciplined people, their energy lifts you. But if you spend time with those who are careless or dishonest, their habits slowly become yours. Munger's advice is simple. Avoid toxic people. Stay close to those who make you better. Partnership also requires patience and trust. In today's world, many relationships are built for convenience, not longevity. But Munger believes in compounding relationships, just as he believes in compounding investments. Over time, trust grows, understanding deepens, and collaboration becomes effortless. The results multiply. This is why he never focused on short-term gains in business or life. He built long-term partnerships based on mutual benefit. Munger's partnership with Buffett also shows the power of humility. Both men are extremely successful, yet neither tries to dominate the other. They share credit, admit mistakes, and celebrate each other's strengths. This lack of ego is what allows their partnership to last. Munger says, "It is remarkable how much long-term advantage people like us have gotten by trying to be consistently not stupid instead of trying to be very intelligent." In your own life, think of partnership as a form of leverage. The right person multiplies your wisdom, steadies your emotions, and pushes you to grow. The wrong person drains your energy and leads you to bad decisions. Choose carefully. As we move to the next chapter, we will explore one of Munger's most famous ideas, the circle of competence. Understanding what you know and what you do not know is key to choosing the right opportunities and avoiding the wrong ones. Chapter 10. The Circle of Competence. Charlie Munger often says that the key to success is not how much you know, but how well you understand the limits of your knowledge. He calls this idea the circle of competence. Everyone has areas where they truly understand the details and areas where they do not. The mistake most people make is pretending their circle is bigger than it really is. Munger's wisdom is simple. Stick to what you understand and stay away from what you don't. This principle sounds obvious, yet very few people follow it. The reason is pride. People hate admitting ignorance. They feel that saying, "I don't know," makes them look weak. But Munger sees it differently. He believes that admitting what you don't know is a sign of strength. It keeps you safe. When you avoid the unknown, you protect yourself from hidden risks and emotional mistakes. In investing, this lesson is vital. Munger and Buffett only invest in businesses they fully understand. They avoid industries that are too complex, unpredictable, or fast-changing. That is why they have stayed away from most technology stocks for decades. They would rather miss an opportunity than risk money on something outside their circle of competence. As Munger says, it's not supposed to be easy. Anyone who thinks it's easy is stupid. The circle of competence is not fixed. It can grow with learning. Munger spends much of his life reading, thinking, and observing, so that his circle expands slowly and safely. But he expands it only through deep understanding, not shallow knowledge. Reading one article or watching one video does not make you an expert. Mastery comes from years of learning, reflection, and experience. Munger also warns against the illusion of knowledge. Sometimes people think they understand something just because they've seen it work for others. But real understanding means knowing why it works, when it might fail, and what risks are hidden underneath. That kind of depth takes time. The circle of competence is not about the number of subjects you know. It's about how well you know them. This principle applies beyond investing. In life, it means choosing work, relationships, and goals that match your strengths. If you try to live someone else's life, you lose your way. Knowing yourself, your skills, your weaknesses, your temperament, gives you clarity. You make better decisions and waste less energy. Munger's advice is to draw your circle carefully and stay honest about its boundaries. When faced with a decision, ask yourself, do I truly understand this? If the answer is no, step back. Curiosity can lead you to learn more, but greed or ego can lead you into danger. He once said, we have 3 baskets for investing: yes, no, and too hard. The too hard basket protects him from costly mistakes. Most people try to have an opinion on everything. Munger has no problem staying silent when he does not know. That humility is a competitive advantage. As we move to the next chapter, we will explore how Munger combines his circle of competence with one of his greatest strengths: long-term thinking. Because knowing what you understand is the first step, but knowing how to wait for the right moment is what turns knowledge into wealth. Chapter 11: The Power of Long-Term Thinking. Charlie Munger believes that time is the friend of the patient and the enemy of the impulsive. In a world obsessed with quick results, he stands as a quiet reminder that real success takes years, even decades. Long-term thinking is not just an investing strategy for Munger, it is a philosophy for living a meaningful life. He often says that the big money is not in the buying or the selling, but in the waiting. Long-term thinking begins with vision. Munger and Buffett do not buy companies hoping to sell them soon. They buy great businesses they can own forever. They look for companies with strong management, durable advantages, and products people will keep buying for generations. Then they let time and compounding do their quiet work. This approach requires discipline because it often means doing nothing. Most investors cannot sit still. They chase the next hot idea, while Munger calmly lets his investments grow. Time turns good decisions into great results. Munger compares investing to planting a tree. You do not get shade or fruit immediately. It takes seasons of care and patience. But once the tree grows, it provides comfort for a lifetime. Many people destroy their own trees by constantly digging them up to check the roots. Long-term thinking is about trusting the process and letting time reward you. Munger's belief in long-term thinking also comes from his understanding of human behavior. He knows that people overvalue the present and undervalue the future. They want immediate pleasure and quick success. But most meaningful achievements, building wealth, mastering a skill, or raising a family, require consistent effort over long periods. By focusing on the long term, you separate yourself from the crowd. Long-term thinking also protects you from emotional decisions. When the market falls, short-term thinkers panic and sell. Munger stays calm because his focus is not on the next week or month, but on the next decade. He once said that if you can't handle seeing your stock fall by half without panic, you don't deserve the reward that comes with long-term ownership. Perspective is power. But long-term thinking is not only about money, it's about character. It teaches patience, humility, and faith in the future. Munger applies this mindset to relationships, learning, and even ethics. He believes that reputation and trust are built over a lifetime, but can be destroyed in a moment. Thinking long-term helps you make choices that age well. You start valuing honesty, quality, and endurance over temporary gain. Another beauty of long-term thinking is compounding, the quiet force that multiplies small actions into massive results. Whether it is money, knowledge, or goodwill, compounding works best with time. But time only works if you let it. Munger often says, the first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. This means avoiding debt, greed, and emotional mistakes that reset your progress. To think long-term, you must train your mind to be comfortable with waiting. You must learn to ignore daily noise and focus on enduring value. This mindset gives you calmness in chaos and confidence when others doubt. Munger's entire career is proof that steady patience beats restless ambition. As we move to the next chapter, we will see how Munger's long-term view connects to something even deeper, the role of character. Because in the end, patience and wisdom mean little without integrity to guide them. Chapter 12: The Role of Character. Charlie Munger believes that character is the foundation of all lasting success. You can have intelligence, skill, and opportunity, but without integrity, everything eventually falls apart. In Munger's world, character is not a decoration. It is the engine that drives good decisions and builds trust over time. He often says that the best way to get a good partner, in business or in life, is to deserve one. Character begins with honesty. Munger and Buffett built their empire on the simple rule of telling the truth, even when it hurts. They do not hide mistakes or twist facts to look clever. This honesty earns them the confidence of investors, employees, and partners. Munger believes that lying or cheating may bring short-term gain, but it destroys long-term reputation. And reputation, once lost, is almost impossible to rebuild. Another part of character is discipline. Munger's success comes not from luck or brilliance, but from consistent, rational behavior. He avoids things that compromise his integrity, like shortcuts, greed, or envy. He once said that envy is the worst of all sins because it brings you no pleasure. Character means keeping your emotions under control and making decisions that reflect your values, not your impulses. Munger also believes that character is revealed in hard times. When things are easy, everyone looks honest and calm. But when pressure rises, your true nature shows. During market crashes or business crises, Munger remains steady. He does not panic or blame others. His calmness comes from confidence in his values. That is why people trust him, not because he is perfect, but because he is consistent. Humility is another pillar of character. Munger understands that even the smartest people make mistakes. He is quick to admit when he is wrong and ready to learn from anyone, regardless of their status. This humility keeps his ego small and his learning curve high. He once said, "If you can't be good, at least be rational." To be rational, you must first be honest with yourself. Character also shapes how you treat others. Munger believes that kindness and fairness are not signs of weakness, but of strength. He treats people with respect, pays them fairly, and avoids unnecessary conflict. He once said that if you want to have a long, happy life, avoid being around dishonest or negative people. And don't become one yourself. The beauty of character is that it compounds over time. Every honest act, every disciplined decision, and every kind gesture builds a reputation that attracts opportunity. People trust those who do what they say. Munger's life is proof that you do not need to cheat to win. In the long run, the market and the world rewards good character. To live like Munger, build habits that strengthen your integrity. Tell the truth, even when it costs you. Admit your mistakes quickly. Treat others as you would want to be treated. Choose long-term respect over short-term gain. These choices may seem small, but they shape your destiny. As we move to the next chapter, we will explore a force that works hand in hand with character, the power of compounding. Because once you have built the foundation of trust and discipline, time itself becomes your greatest ally. Chapter 13. The Power of Compounding. Charlie Munger calls compounding the most powerful force in the universe that most people never truly understand. It is simple, but not easy. Compounding means that small, consistent actions, when allowed to grow over time, can produce extraordinary results. Munger's entire philosophy, both in investing and in life, revolves around this idea. He often says that the first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. In investing, compounding works like quiet magic. When you earn a return on your money and then earn returns on those returns, growth accelerates. What starts small becomes massive over decades. Munger and Buffett became billionaires not because they found secret shortcuts, but because they let time and patience do the heavy lifting. They bought great businesses, held them for decades, and allowed compounding to work its miracle. But Munger's view of compounding goes far beyond money. He believes that knowledge, character, and relationships compound too. Every book you read adds a little to your understanding. Every good habit strengthens your discipline. Every act of kindness builds trust. Over the years, these small improvements multiply into something powerful. Munger calls it the iron law of nature. What you consistently do, for better or worse, will grow over time. Compounding teaches patience. It rewards those who stay steady when others rush. Most people fail because they quit too early. They expect fast results and lose faith when progress is slow. But Munger knows that compounding starts small. It looks boring at first. Then suddenly it explodes. That is why he says, The big money is not in the buying or the selling, but in the waiting. To let compounding work, you must protect it. That means avoiding mistakes that reset your progress. Debt, greed, and emotional decisions can destroy years of steady growth in a single moment. Munger's rule is simple. Never take risks that can wipe you out, no matter how tempting the reward seems. Compounding only works when you stay in the game. There is also moral compounding. Every honest action builds reputation, and every dishonest one destroys it. Munger believes that integrity compounds faster than money. The more trustworthy you are, the more opportunities find you. People want to work with those who keep their word. Just as interest grows on money, goodwill grows on good behavior. Munger also warns about negative compounding. Just as good habits multiply your success, bad habits multiply your failure. Laziness, envy, or dishonesty may not hurt immediately, but their damage grows quietly over time. To succeed, you must make sure that your daily actions add to your life, not subtract from it. The lesson of compounding is simple. Be patient, be consistent, and be wise. Focus on actions that create long-term value, and let time do the rest. You do not need to be brilliant every day. You just need to avoid big mistakes and keep improving a little at a time. As we move to the next chapter, we will see how another of Munger's great strengths, emotional control, helps protect the magic of compounding. Because even the best plan can fail if emotions take over when patience is most needed. Chapter 14. Emotional Control. Charlie Munger believes that emotional control is one of the rarest and most valuable skills in both investing and life. While intelligence can help you find good opportunities, it is emotional discipline that ensures you don't destroy them. He often says, "A person who can't control their emotions can't control their money." The truth is, markets test your patience, ego, and fear, and only those with calm minds survive. Munger's success is not the result of constant action, but of restraint. He and Buffett have spent most of their careers doing nothing when others were busy trading. They wait for the right pitch. They understand that emotions like greed and fear cause people to make the worst decisions, buying at the top and selling at the bottom. Munger's advice is simple but profound. Don't react emotionally. Sit tight and think rationally. Emotional control begins with understanding your nature. Human beings are wired for survival, not for investing. In ancient times, fear kept us alive. But in modern markets, it causes panic. Munger learned that to succeed, you must train your mind to stay calm when others lose theirs. He often reminds investors to invert, to think about what not to do. If you simply avoid foolish behavior when everyone else is losing control, you will do better than most. This discipline is not only useful in finance. Emotional control helps in every aspect of life, in relationships, in business, and in decision-making. Munger says, you don't have to be brilliant, only disciplined. That means keeping your ego small, your mind open, and your reactions measured. When you are calm, you can see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. Munger and Buffett built Berkshire Hathaway's fortune, partly because they could sit still when others couldn't. During market crashes, they didn't panic. They looked for opportunities. While others were selling in fear, they were buying quality businesses at discounts. That calmness came from preparation. They studied deeply, built conviction, and trusted their reasoning. You can't stay calm if you don't understand what you own. Knowledge gives confidence, and confidence gives peace. Munger also warns about envy, one of the most destructive emotions. Envy can make a rational person act foolishly just to catch up with others. He often jokes that envy is the only deadly sin that brings no joy. The cure is gratitude and focus. Don't measure your life against others. Measure it against your own progress. Emotional control also means accepting discomfort. Markets will fall, businesses will struggle, and people will disappoint you. Munger says, if you can't stomach small losses, you'll never enjoy big gains. You must endure temporary pain for long-term growth. Patience and resilience separate professionals from amateurs. In short, Munger teaches that success is less about brilliance and more about temperament. A calm investor can see opportunities hidden by panic. A calm thinker can find clarity in confusion. And a calm person can keep moving forward when others freeze. As we move to the next chapter, we'll explore how curiosity, the habit of lifelong learning, strengthens emotional control. Because the more you understand the world, the less likely you are to be shaken by it. Curiosity keeps your mind growing, while your emotions stay steady. Chapter 15. The Joy of Lifelong Curiosity. Charlie Munger often says that the best thing a human being can do is to help another human being know more. His entire life is proof of his belief in lifelong curiosity. Munger never stopped learning. Even in his 90s, he read daily, thought deeply, and questioned his own views. He believed that a curious mind is the greatest asset anyone can have. Curiosity feeds wisdom, and wisdom compounds faster than money. Munger once said, "Go to bed a little wiser than when you woke up." That simple rule, followed for years, leads to extraordinary results. He and Warren Buffett turned reading and thinking into daily habits. They didn't chase trends. They chased understanding. This constant curiosity allowed them to connect ideas across disciplines: psychology, history, biology, mathematics, and business. That cross-connection became their superpower. Curiosity makes the mind flexible. It keeps ego small and knowledge expanding. Munger believed that curiosity protects you from arrogance, because the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. He admired people who were learning machines, those who continuously improved their thinking and updated their beliefs when faced with new evidence. To him, stubbornness was a sign of ignorance, not strength. In investing, curiosity helps you see beyond the numbers. It encourages you to ask questions like, "Why is this business successful?" Or, "What could destroy this advantage?" Or, "What are others missing?" A curious investor looks at companies as living systems, not just stock tickers. This mindset leads to better understanding and better judgment. Munger often drew lessons from fields outside finance. He studied biology to understand adaptation, psychology to understand behavior, and history to understand cycles. This curiosity gave him a broader lens. He believed that the world is too complex to understand through one narrow field. "You must have a latticework of models," he said, "and hang your experience on that structure." That latticework grows only through curiosity. But Munger's curiosity was not just intellectual, it was joyful. He genuinely loved the process of discovering how things work. He often said, "It's such fun to learn." That joy is what kept him young in spirit. He didn't read to impress others. He read because understanding reality was deeply satisfying. When you find joy in learning, you never tire of it. He also believed curiosity made people kinder. When you truly want to understand others, their motives, struggles, and dreams, you become more empathetic and less judgmental. A curious mind listens more and argues less. It looks for truth, not victory. That quality made Munger a great thinker and an even greater human being. Curiosity also leads to humility. Every time you learn something new, you see how vast the world is. This awareness keeps your decisions balanced and your expectations realistic. It helps you avoid the overconfidence that ruins so many investors. Munger's curiosity made him cautious yet bold. Cautious about what he didn't know. Bold about what he understood deeply. As we move forward, we come to another crucial lesson in Munger's philosophy: independent thinking. Curiosity fills the mind with knowledge, but independence allows you to use that knowledge wisely. In the next chapter, we'll see how Munger's strength came from thinking for himself, even when the whole world disagreed. Chapter 16. The Importance of Independent Thinking. Charlie Munger's mind was a fortress of independence. He admired people who could think for themselves, resist the crowd, and make decisions based on logic rather than popularity. Independent thinking was, for him, the mark of true intelligence. He often said, "If you want to be a great investor, you cannot look to the crowd for answers. The crowd is almost always wrong at the extremes." Munger's independence came from confidence built on deep knowledge. He and Warren Buffett never cared about daily market predictions or media noise. They focused on what they understood best, the businesses themselves. When the world panicked, they stayed calm. When others chased fads, they waited patiently. That confidence to stand alone came from years of learning and reasoning, not from arrogance. Independent thinking begins with curiosity and courage. Curiosity gives you the tools to understand the world. Courage gives you the strength to act on your understanding. Munger believed both were essential. He warned that most people let social pressure guide their decisions. They fear being different more than being wrong. To him, this was a fatal weakness. "You are not right because others agree with you," he said. "You are right because your facts and reasoning are right." Throughout his life, Munger practiced contrarian patience. He didn't follow trends or try to time markets. He looked for truth. When he found it, he stayed with it, even if the rest of the world disagreed. This independence often meant enduring long periods of being misunderstood. But that never bothered him. He valued being correct over being liked. Independent thinking also requires humility. You must be willing to change your mind when the evidence changes. Munger often revised his beliefs as he learned more. He didn't let pride trap him in outdated ideas. He once said, "The ability to destroy your own best-loved ideas is a rare gift." That humility protected him from dogma, the dangerous belief that you're always right. In investing, independent thinking separates the professionals from the speculators. Most people follow the herd, buying when prices rise and selling when they fall. Munger and Buffett did the opposite. They bought when value was clear, but fear was high. They sold only when logic, not emotion, said it was time. Independent thinking allows you to see opportunity in panic and danger in euphoria. Munger also believed that independence is moral strength. To think for yourself means taking responsibility for your judgments. You cannot blame the crowd or the news when things go wrong. You must stand by your decisions. This mindset builds integrity, which is one of the rarest qualities in business and life. But independent thinking does not mean isolation. Munger valued discussion and learning from others, especially from people who disagreed with him. He said, "I never allow myself to have an opinion on anything that I don't know the other side's argument better than they do." Independence is not about rejecting all advice. It is about testing ideas, understanding both sides, and making your own conclusions. To develop independent thinking, Munger advised building a foundation of knowledge so strong that you can trust your reasoning when the world turns noisy. That means reading widely, questioning deeply, and observing quietly. Independence grows from preparation. As we move into the next and final chapter before the epilogue, we'll explore how Munger's wisdom extends beyond investing, into generosity, contribution, and living well. Because for Munger, independence and success meant little without purpose and the joy of giving back. Chapter 17. Giving Back and Living Well. Charlie Munger's life was not only about building wealth, but also about building wisdom and using it for the greater good. He believed that a successful life is measured not by what you accumulate, but by what you contribute. Munger's philosophy of giving was rooted in gratitude. He once said, "The best thing a human being can do is to help another human being know more." This simple idea guided his choices in business, education, and philanthropy. Munger and Warren Buffett shared a deep belief that money is only a tool, a byproduct of value creation. The real joy comes from improving the lives of others. Both men gave away large parts of their wealth to education, healthcare, and human development. But Munger's giving went beyond money. He gave his time, his ideas, and his wisdom freely. He mentored young investors, advised students, and supported institutions that fostered critical thinking and innovation. Munger often said that life should be lived in a way that you are useful to others. He believed that every person has a responsibility to leave the world a little better than they found it. For him, giving back was not about charity alone. It was about stewardship, using one's abilities wisely to create long-lasting impact. He admired people who worked hard, lived simply, and contributed quietly without seeking recognition. A key part of living well, according to Munger, was balance. He understood that money could buy comfort, but not meaning. Happiness came from good relationships, honest work, and continuous learning. He valued family, friendship, and intellectual engagement far more than luxury. Munger once noted that envy and resentment are the enemies of a good life, while gratitude and curiosity are its allies. He also believed that integrity was the foundation of true success. A person who lives honestly and fairly can sleep well at night, no matter how much or little they own. He often reminded people that reputation is built slowly, but lost quickly. The best way to live well is to act in ways that you would be proud of, even if they were printed on the front page of the newspaper. Giving back, in Munger's view, also meant sharing knowledge. He spent decades teaching others how to think rationally, avoid common biases, and make better decisions. He didn't sugarcoat his lessons. He spoke plainly, sometimes sharply, because he cared deeply about truth. His generosity of wisdom continues to guide investors, entrepreneurs, and thinkers around the world. Munger believed that the purpose of wealth is freedom, the freedom to think independently, to live honestly, and to help others generously. Once your basic needs are met, the pursuit of endless money becomes empty. Real freedom comes from mastering your mind, managing your desires, and living by your principles. He also urged people to find joy in simple things: a good book, an interesting conversation, or a problem solved with reason. He found happiness not in what he owned, but in what he understood. His life reminds us that wisdom, kindness, and curiosity create the richest kind of wealth, one that cannot be measured in dollars. As we close this journey through Munger's lessons, we arrive at the epilogue, a reflection on the Munger Way of life. There, we'll bring together the timeless principles that shaped his extraordinary journey and see how they can help us all live more rational, meaningful, and fulfilled lives. Epilogue: The Munger Way of Life. Charlie Munger's wisdom goes far beyond investing. It is a guide for thinking clearly, living honestly, and acting wisely. His life was proof that success is not about luck or speed, but about discipline, curiosity, and good judgment. He lived with calm confidence, guided by reason, not emotion. His way of life teaches us that intelligence is nothing without character, and wealth means little without purpose. The Munger Way begins with clarity. He urged people to see reality as it truly is, not as they wish it to be. Clear thinking allows good decisions, and good decisions compound just like money does. He often said that avoiding stupidity is easier than seeking brilliance. If you simply avoid the common traps of greed, envy, and fear, you will already be ahead of most people. At the heart of his philosophy lies lifelong learning. Munger believed that knowledge grows like a snowball. The more you learn, the faster it grows. He encouraged people to read widely, think deeply, and connect ideas from many fields. This habit of learning not only makes you wiser, but also humbler, because you realize how much there is still to understand. Another pillar of his life was patience. Munger taught that the world rewards those who wait for the right moment and act only when logic supports them. He believed that most mistakes happen because people act too quickly. In his quiet way, he showed that waiting can be a superpower in both investing and life. Munger also lived by the rule of simplicity. He avoided unnecessary complexity, both in his thinking and in his lifestyle. He didn't chase the newest ideas or follow every trend. He focused on what mattered, understanding good businesses, maintaining integrity, and surrounding himself with wise people. He knew that simplicity brings clarity and peace of mind. Emotional control was another cornerstone of his wisdom. He understood that markets and life both test our temper. The ability to stay calm when others panic is what separates success from failure. Munger once said that the biggest enemy of a good decision is your own emotion. Learning to think slowly and act rationally gives you strength that others lack. Generosity and humility completed his philosophy. Despite his enormous success, Munger remained humble and practical. He shared his insights freely, not to impress, but to teach. He wanted others to become better thinkers, better investors, and better human beings. His quiet kindness and dry humor left a mark on everyone who listened. In the end, the Munger Way is not a set of rules. It is a mindset, one that values learning over comfort, truth over convenience, and integrity over wealth. It is about becoming wiser each day, thinking for yourself, and contributing more than you consume. Charlie Munger's legacy is not just in the fortune he helped build, but in the lives he inspired. His wisdom reminds us that real success is living a life of purpose, discipline, and understanding. The Munger Way is timeless because it speaks to something universal: the desire to live wisely and well. If you follow his lessons, think clearly, learn constantly, stay patient, act with integrity, and give back, you may not only become wealthier, but also happier. And that, as Munger might say with his quiet smile, is the smartest investment of all.